Okay, we are doing a summary now of Daf Ayin Zayin Amud Beis. We're talking about this image of the king seated on the throne. The word kisei, case, aleph, the concealment of the aleph of Hashem. We also have another image that the arms sit on the armrest, representing something closer to the head, which is why the hands have greater dexterity, and the feet below the throne on a brick, which we'll talk about that, made of sapphire. And we explained that hand and feet are also a metaphor for our natural intuitive love and fear of Hashem versus our more developed, matured fear and love of Hashem, which are shaped and supported by our intellect. We also talked about the difference between stones and bricks. A stone is a natural creation, and a brick is a human creation. We used an analogy that a stone is compared to letters. Letters on their own are pretty meaningless. However, they are eligible to be combined and thus to express thoughts and ideas, bringing them down from godliness. Like a stone can be combined with other stones and make a home. And just as a person is not really a person without a home, so too a person is with letters. They become that much more expressive, and also to be able to import from on high. And we talked about it's the comparable to a horse, that like a horse can transport a person for great distances that he would not be able to do on his own. In a similar fashion, letters are able to empower us in a way that we wouldn't otherwise be eligible to do so. And then we went on to describe the difference between divine language, Lashon Kodesh, and human language, consensus language, foreign languages. Lashon Kodesh communicates Kedusha. Human language does not innately communicate Kedusha. However, it can be utilized, just like all Gashmias, our jobs, the food we eat, the clothing we wear, into the service of Hashem. How do we do that? So we made an analogy to the difference between rocks and bricks. A rock is a divinely created entity, like Lashon Kodesh, divinely created language. A brick is a humanly created entity that is comparable to humanly created language. And following the metaphor another step, just as in order to make a brick, we have to fire it in the kiln, the fire that transforms human language, and by extension, human behavior, is the fire of Mesiras Nefesh. That if we will engage in the fire of Mesiras Nefesh, we will be able to utilize secular human language in the service of Hashem, so that it can enhance our davening and can explain Torah, as we're doing now, and so forth. So now we understand this idea of the sapphire made of brick, that when we engage in Torah, even if we are using human terms, or we are compelled to, and we're using human behaviors and foods and so forth, just like language is enunciated with the same particles of the mouth and larynx and so forth as Hebrew, so too, when we fire it with the passion of Mesiras Nefesh, total Mesiras Nefesh, we can utilize secular language to be uplifted. We then went on to describe a bit of a technical process about how Moshe Rabbeinu was able to be aligned with the Yud-Kei Vav-Kei level, because he comes from Atzilus, and even the elders had to stay back because they, quote, only come from Bria. And the Alter Rebbe gave us an image that Atzilus can't be communicated down here. There's a blockage, like a wall. What penetrates the wall? The desire of Hashem to be connected with us. That's the process called Adam Kadmon, that Hashem has this objective that he wants to be connected with us, to be the Melech, and we to be his Am. And therefore, Hashem has to break through this wall so that we can have something to incorporate about the godliness. That process allows at least the second tier of the midos, netzach, which is a derivative of chesed and so forth, to make itself down here, just as the subjects only can see what the king dictates, but they have no real understanding of the king. But they know that the dictates of the king are absolutely crucial for the king and for their opportunity to have a relationship with the king. And therefore, they can attach to the gifts that are given to them and in a sense, be thus connected to the infinity of the king. This essentially summarizes this page.